Low impact and toning. Get yourself a couple of towels. Okay, we're going to start right off with this is what I'm putting in as our rhythmic limbering today, right? So you're just getting into your warm up glide. And what I love about the glide is even if you start off doing it wrong, right? Is it really right or wrong if your body's moving and you're comfortable? Not necessarily, but from my perspective of full engagement, there's a couple of things that need to happen. You do not have to flex down into a squat. If your knees are talking to you a little bit, then stay more stiff-limbed. But the one thing that needs to be a constant is your heels are driving the movement. And so often when I'm with people and they're doing this, what happens is they lift the heel on the trailing leg, and then that towel starts working its way out from under the foot. You want to maintain a push into the heel more than the ball of the foot. And even if your feet, because now I want you to work your space a little bit where you're kind of doing diagonal backslides. And depending on how much space you have, you might only get 2 or 3 slides in forward and reverse. But as your body naturally finds a rhythm, it's okay to let your foot, hip, knee, shoulder kind of rotate the direction that the body's moving. That's a freedom. If we were banded, right, those little resist-bands that people put around their thighs, and we were doing specific hip abduction work, then we would fine-tune our technique a little bit more. But for right now's purposes, I want you to let the shoulders relax, let the elbows be soft. However long your stride is, make it feel comfortable to you. Once we come out of this last rear slide, get yourself back into your working zone, right? Sweep the arms with the legs, and we're going to go into 2 slides each direction. Go 2. 1, 2. 2 is the magic number because of space. But when I'm teaching my class at IRB, right, we will often go 4, 6, 10 slides, repeating pattern, because when we get the repeating direction, then you're actually able to direct your feet forward because now we have no diagonal push, right? 5, and things should be starting to heat up. 4, this is great gentle lubricant for the knee, this little flexing up and down. 3, and you should feel like your heart rate's coming up. 2, you're going to finish on your next double over there. Okay. And cut. And that's all that's needed, just a couple of minutes to elevate that heart rate a little bit. And now that the heart rate's up, we're going to keep it up. Hi, Rich. Tries to always sneak in and out as if no one's noticing him. I had somebody ask me the other day, where all do you teach classes? And I said, well, I have a studio in his living room. She laughed. Anyway, so I want you to give me a rock step. All right. Pick your position. Are you mirroring me? Right? Are you using the other leg? Are you coming forward and pushing back, or are you pushing back and going forward? It doesn't matter. What does matter is that you need to think, how do I transition? You stay right here because I'm going to come back to you. How do you create change of direction? See, I'm right back with you. How do you create change of direction? I'm right back with you without you feeling like you're misstepping. And how you do that is by having your traveling leg complete its rear end step. If you were to take your traveling leg and stop it where your other foot is, it would throw your whole rhythm. So that is why this is called a rock step, right? Now, if you're with me, we're going to omit the center part. Side, side, right? And in the event you don't like the crossover step, then just go back to your straight ahead and basic rock step or marching feet, because we are all going to come out of this rock step into marching feet. I have so much to share this morning. I don't even know where to start, except get the other leg going. And that's where we'll start. Okay. So yesterday after class, I had a lady approach me and she's like, "Oh, Michelle," she said, "I just got the results of my bone density scan and I've got osteoporosis," right? And I was like, it's really no surprise. It's really no surprise, right? Because most of us will test with a bone loss, okay? And there's a reason why some of us test at a higher level of bone loss than others, and that's not a clear representation. Omit the middle, omit the middle. The DEXA scan is not a clear evaluation of your body's bone health, okay? Except the doctors will often put you in fear mode. Oh my gosh, you're going to snap. You're so brittle. You have to get on this medication. And I'm not saying that that's not a proper course of treatment for you. Finish here, marching feet. However, the part of the discussion that generally does not happen with your practitioner and you is this part of the equation that would actually really give you some insight into why did it happen. For most of the people I know, they've been active their whole life. By the standards of what you need to do physically to keep your bones strong, most people go, check, I've been doing weight-bearing exercises for as long as I can remember. How is it that I've got low bone density at my hip and I'm like gonna, if I fall, I'm gonna like break a bone, okay? The missing link to the discussion is this. Beyond the bone density scan, the more important part is to figure out, how did it happen? Pull forward. That is what I have been dissecting down since she brought this to me, because of course you're going to do repeat leg, okay? She brought this to me yesterday morning and I was like, it wouldn't be a bad idea for me to actually bone up on, no pun intended, on what makes strong bones. How do we keep our body, get ready, switch sides. How do we help prevent it once it's realized that this is a condition that we're dealing with? Can we regenerate bone? Back to the other side. Here's what I found. Is that it's not taking in more calcium that would promote bone growth, because that's not how it works. Switch sides. It's getting your body in a more alkaline state. This is the crazy part. Relax, shake it out. This, to me, was the mind-boggling part that made me go, this nugget radiates off into a multitude of things that go wrong in our system that we're very aware of, but yet have never linked it to bone loss. For example, if your body is at the wrong level of pH, shake it out, then what happens is your system is so intuitive, okay? Front, front, side, 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 front, front. You don't have to shake if it's too intense on the feet and the ankles, right? But if you can let yourself have some freedom, right? Shake it out. So if we can get our system at the right level of alkalinity, okay, then what happens is internally, your body has what's called homeostasis. That's what I'm labeling it because I try to put things in terms that make sense to me, not clinical verbiage that means nothing. Okay. So, light jog in place. If your diet has high levels of, we'll say, toxicity from processed foods, sugar, alcohol, high levels of protein, which cause your body to protein, as your body breaks protein down, it becomes very acidic. Okay. As your body breaks down most vegetables and fruit, it becomes very alkaline. The thing is high level acidity foods cause your body to secrete calcium from the bones as a means of stabilizing your alkaline levels. Relax. That is how so many people are getting through life and realizing at the stage where they actually really need their bones to be strong, they've had decades of mismanagement, unaware of mismanagement, that this system is happening within the body. Grab your light weights because I haven't even begun to be done with this. Now, how would you know if your body is like at the wrong alkaline level? pH, whatever you want to call it, okay? Lateral raise. There are some very telltale symptoms of it. This is going to shock you. If you're somebody that has frequent heartburn, acid reflux, right? Kind of irritable bowel, all of these things that are associated with the gut. Remember how like everything that can go wrong with our body typically starts with there being a massive issue with the gut. But by the time we address some of these issues, the body has tried to figure out a solution on its own. If the behavior hasn't been corrected for the body to actually do the right thing, then it will outsource from other systems that are not supposed to be truly used to help us. Is that not fascinating? Hold it forward and back. Now, as you pull open, I realize that even using light weights may be too much for this movement because the light weight at this point should make you feel like your arms are really heavy and all you want to do is just put them down. That's where we want to be for right now, okay? As your arms open, I want you to try to squeeze your shoulder blades. It's not about moving the hands further back. It's about driving your elbows back like someone was pushing against your elbow and you're pushing them back. And that's what's going to get you the squeeze across the upper middle back. Give me 5 more. With the intensity of this, it's hard to focus on anything else. 4. Inhale forward. Exhale, squeeze your belly to buns. Inhale forward. Give me 1 more. Now, relax. light jog in place. All right. So this is what I love about when you all share with me something that may be going on with you. It plants the seed. And with that seed, I go and I'm like, how can I get this seed to actually really produce something for me, which is knowledge, right? So information, they're not exchangeable. The information, right? The pertinent parts of it. What part of the doctor wants to put me on? There's a category for this particular type of pill that the name, because it's so clinical and I can't pronounce it, it doesn't come to me. But if I was to say it, you all will go, oh, I've actually taken that. Some of you might say, oh, I've actually taken that because that's exactly what the doctor put me on, and separate. So trying to be unbiased, I went to a study in. You're probably going to do 4 or 5 of them, so we might not always be in rhythm. A little bit out, a little bit in, okay? For me, my body's natural jog pattern, if I'm doing something like this, is like a 5 count. So if you're trying to keep count, that's probably what it's going to end up like more often than not. But don't get distracted by it if I'm talking and not on my own count that I just told you, okay? So even in the support of following the recommendation of the medication that the doctor is prescribing to treat this particular cause, what has come from it is that the medication, beyond 5 years of taking it, actually creates a bigger risk factor for the people who stay on it. Release and relax. The jaw, I don't want to say breaking, but because they've used a very specific word, right? Fractures in the hip, the jaw, like odd things happening to the body, not to mention esophagus cancer. I don't know if I would take a prescriptive. That's me speaking now, right? Not having to actually deal with someone saying, well, this is your problem. But wouldn't it be an interesting thing if you went and got your bone density test, elbows on the ball, or elbows on a chair if you don't want to be kind of a little less stable. So you're going to step back. The feet are going to be quite wide from each other, so at least hip width apart, preferably shoulder apart. And you see I've just got my body burrowed down into the ball. I'm in full extended knees. And now pelvic tilt into the ball. Use your strong arms, push against the ball, and try to get your belly off the ball. And if you're looking at me going, why does it look like you're kind of a little bit rounded? Because that's the position you should be in this position. Holding 5, 4, 3, 2, belly to the ball. Let the knees relax. In the knee, the pressure so you can build up enough steam to do it again. Flex your parts. Take your buns, pelvic tilt into the ball. That's what gives the spine its little curvature, right? Press the arms into the ball, look down without letting the head hang. And now pull your belly button up, holding 5, 4, 3, 2, down you go. Resting, softening the knees down. Even if you want to go to knee down, because that's okay for you, do that. That's more of a relaxed position, right? Get ready. Put tension in the body. So we're doing 5 of these, and this is number 3. Pelvic tilt. Look at the floor without letting your head hang. So practice your cervical spine retraction, and then pull your navel and hips off the ball, holding 5, 4, 3, 2. Rest. Inhale. Brace. Activate. 5, 4, 3, 2. Rest. Take your deep breath. Set it up. Brace yourself, right? Get in the right position. Activate so that the hips leave the ball. 5, 4, 3, 2, release, relax, help yourself out of that. So wouldn't it be really valuable if prior to you getting immediately put on a prescriptive medication, they said, okay, why don't we run a supplement regime that includes X, Y, and Z? And why don't we start testing your state of alkalinity, which pH, all you have to do is pee on one of these sticks, right? Let's see, is your body actually acidic, which is what's triggering the calcium to be leached from your bones? Let's start there, because that would be pretty simple, right? You see, the thing about the DEXA scan, it is a moment in time, right? At the time that you're tested, that's the test. But that doesn't actually mean that that is what your bones are always doing. If you've been implementing high level acidic foods, then your test result, though it registers exactly what your body is at that moment in time, that might not be your normal state. What if you just went on a huge vacation, right? 2, 3 weeks, maybe it was only 7 days, and your eating routine was entirely off. And then you get back from your vacation, you go in for a scan, and your scan result is not going to be exactly the big picture. It will be what you are at that moment, but maybe not what you are 340 days out of the year. So it's slightly subjective, right? Release, relax. But what if your doctor says, Sally, what I think we should do first is let's set you up with our dietitian, nutritionist, and why don't we actually see first you're going to food journal. We need to know what state your body's coming into this in. And then based on your food journal, we're going to actually start tweaking your level of consumption in addition to supplementing with some minerals, because clearly you must have a deficiency in probably magnesium, vitamin K, and probably D on some level. I'm just saying it's not calcium. People run out and they want to then ingest a calcium supplement, which is not the solution to dealing with bone density issues. The calcium that you want your body to get is through your fruits and vegetables and through your diet, not a supplemental calcium. Funny, right? Pull the palms. You're like, why are we seated? This is like too easy. It's not gonna be. I want you to put your feet hip width apart. Now, when you stand up, raise up, pull down, right? Up you go. Don't close the hands together. Nice long arms. Pull. Wow. It makes the sitting down more focused, right? So instead of you just plopping your fanny in the chair, we're coming down with the intention of doing this upper back pull down stretch. Why might I incorporate this today like this? Right? Our spine sit position for squats needs to keep us in a amount of tension, which is what S curve provides. And sometimes we're going to run the experiment now. So now, stay here, forget your arms. So now, without the arms doing the pull, you might find that the spine actually wants to kind of be a little bit soft and a little more fluid. And ordinarily, fluidity is great, right? But with extra load, we want tension. So here we go. Add the arms in, sweep them down. 5 more. Inhale, exhale, inhale. So you talk about getting my brain stimulated. And I've always been under the impression you've got this last one and it's going to leave you standing. Stay up, relax the arms. So, in my opinion, grab a quick drink. I've always thought that, so not knowing what I just discovered for years, because everyone that would come and tell me that they just had a bone density scan and it shows that they've got osteoporosis, I thought, why start testing for bone density in your 50s? Why not do something about that in your 30s? Why not start the testing in your 30s to see what your body's progressive state is? Because by the time you hit your 50s, it almost seems like you're behind the 8 ball and you can't actually catch up. What do I know? Okay, I'm going to give you options. So I said that I wanted to use the slidey rags for an ab exercise. Okay, so I'm putting my chair in the corner. I'm going to use my chair. 2 things. If you don't want to use the slidey rags, then here's where you are. You've got an elbows on support base. And let me tell you, you could do this from the ball, but you would want the ball pressing against a wall to create a little more stability. And it would be significantly more challenging. Okay, so here's version 1. Version 2, which is a little bit more like smooth, is you're still using hands on your chair. If you've got the space to create that without your chair sliding away, and you're just doing your leg glide. Now, the hardest version of the movement would be hands on the floor, holding yourself in push-up position. And this movement is also known as your mountain climber. So I want you to think, is this an appropriate movement for you? Let's try to knock out 10, 9, 8. You can go faster. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Release, relax, help yourself up. Just know we're going to come back to that a couple of times. All right. Grabbing your slightly heavier weights. We're going in for biceps. So as I was getting the information, and then that little bit about the body's bones secreting calcium as a means of helping the body maintain a particular alkalinity. It's like, why have I never heard that before? I went to more than one source. That wasn't like some random thing that just a quack, one doctor put out. It then put me on to asking questions a certain way, right? In order to get more information about how the body does that. So then I thought, okay, doing the P test on the stick might be a really beneficial thing for most people, not just dealing with bone density, right? But diseases tend to kick off. I know I'm getting ready to open a can of worms here, okay? We're speeding up the bicep curl. As I get ready to say this, I'm like, it's a hard line to draw in the sand, right? To make a statement that can be challenging, okay? So from all of the research that I've done across the board on most illnesses, hammer time, is that if your body's natural state tends to be acidic, then essentially you have an endless supply of food for the diseases. Let that sink in. It's crazy to think. Relax. It is mind-boggling to me, right? To think that there are a lot of people who do not associate their dietary intake with why they actually have problems. So many people will not look inward to what they've been doing to themselves for a very long time, and they will then go, I have a genetic predisposition to X, because that lets them off the hook of accountability. Now, that's my position. And of course, as I sit here and speak to you, I'm not talking to any one person, so it might seem like that's an insensitive perspective on my part to take at somebody. But if I was actually speaking to someone directly, I might change my approach and be a little more subtle, right? Release and relax. The funny thing is, I was playing pickleball the other day, totally unrelated, but slightly. I'm going to circle back to it. And there's a man that I know he and his wife, but I don't know them, right? Like I know them from the gym, and recently they've taken to pickleball. So now I've seen them at the pickleball court a couple times, and he and I had not played together prior to. And so we approach each other, smack paddles, and I say, let's kill him. And he laughed. And I said, I'm just kidding. And he said, no, you're not. And I said, you're right. I am highly competitive. But the funny thing, here's a person who I don't know, who already interpreted what he thought my position was on most things, which is pretty aggressive, right? Aggressive and competitive. And I actually thought that was funny, release and relax. So when I say to you that if I was sitting having a discussion with somebody, I would be a little more sensitive and subtle, I probably would be, but not to the point where it lets somebody off the hook for what they've been doing to themselves. And sometimes people just don't know that what they've been doing to themselves is actually creating the problem. Now, what happens when in someone's unknowingness, here you are, hinge, right? Can you get into hinge? The harder it is for you to get into what's called tabletop spine, the more you need to bend your legs to give you the control to articulate your lumbar. This is really crucial. All right. Pull up, squeeze. So often when I see people and they're really tight in the hamstrings, and I'm like, okay, bend your legs, they don't feel comfortable bending their legs because they just, some movements, it feels awkward to bend your legs when you know that you're supposed to be in tabletop. But if your hamstrings are tight, you're never going to get into tabletop without bending your legs. Here we go. The weights come right to below the kneecap. Pull up. If your flexibility is really good and you can maintain your spine position, then you can go as low as you want to, so long as your spine doesn't round, okay? And even if it did kind of round, right, you just have to be careful. It's the sensation, like you're only going to get so far comfortably, and that's what you want to range your movement about. Where's your comfortable line? The primary activator is the hamstring muscle. So if you feel strain across your low back, then you're going too low and you're probably out of good form. 3 more. Inhale down. Pull it up. When you pull up, I want you to squeeze the dumbbells extra firm. You can slightly let the dumbbells release in the hand grip a little bit so that you can get the extra pull and relax. Okay, you're going to back to your slidey rags. Pick your position. You want to step your feet forward and back, or do you want to be gliding? If you don't want either of these, then just jog or march in place to keep your heart rate up. Okay, here we go. So I'm opting for the second set, right, of this movement to be a little bit easier. And while I'm here, I can help talk you through some of your setup. If you are using the chair, whether or not you're on your little slidey rags or you're stepping your feet forward and back, the constant is that your shoulder needs to stay stable over your elbow. If your shoulders are pushing back behind your elbows, you're loading your body in the wrong way. So get right on top of those arms and push the legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, and cut. Easy does it. Walk around. Slow and steady. I'm getting ready to drop another information bomb. Okay. Oh, let me get my breath. Let me drink my tonic. Yesterday, I put way too much cayenne pepper in my water. My lips it just lights the lips up. I don't know if you've ever purchased any lip pumping, lip plumping gloss. If you've ever used it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So it's something that you prime your lips with, and there's a chemical, not cayenne pepper, but there's a chemical in it that like makes your lips feel all tingly, and it's like a circulatory rush to them, and supposedly it's supposed to make your lips fuller. Well, of course, I try a lot of things, and I decided I did not like that feeling. And not only that, I never could actually see that it did anything. But that's what happens with the cayenne pepper. If it's too much in my cup, then it leaves this residue on my lips that makes my lips feel like I'm getting lip plumping. So maybe that is a bonus for me. Are you guys doing okay? I know I'm chatterbox today, but I'm so excited. It's like the information energizes me because it actually is a solution to this thing that has plagued so many people that I know. And not only that, it gives me an opportunity to start treating myself with another intention in mind about why I'm doing something a certain way to help offset, right? So you all know that for years now, I've been focusing on my longevity. What does that mean to me? It's not just that I want to be a size whatever, right? Or I want my body weight to be whatever. It's that from a whole body position, internal and external, I want to do as much as I can. Remember, multi-planar movement is part brain. So diagonal cross, that's how it's multiplanar. See how the leg, it's coming across the midlines. Where can you get your hand to touch? 5, 4, 3. The harder something is, the less story time, right? 2, last one. Don't worry, you're going to get to shake it off. Shake it off. Don't worry, we'll do the other side. Just remember which side you were doing, because sometimes I come back to it and I've confused myself. Here's the scary part. For someone who receives a piece of information that kind of shocks you about what the status of what your bones are, right? It then can send you into like a tailspin where then what you think you know, oh, I just need to, take some calcium supplements and help myself out. Sometimes people will be reactive without the education to it. And then that reactive state can trigger a whole series of arterial sclerosis. Release, relax. That's a big word, right? Too much calcium in your body will actually, instead of going to your bones, too much of the right calcium in your body, instead of it going to your bones, will go into the arterial walls and create a plaque buildup. And I'm probably misusing plaque and calcium, right? So I want you to think about this, okay? Other side, high hand, I'll get back a little bit. High hand, just start with the high hand, pulling and allow. So that, I feel like I'm doing a Michael Jackson move. This is internal, right? Internal hip rotation, external hip rotation. Relax. Do you need to know that? I don't know. Pull up. The knee floats out. Touch. Right? Now, pull the other arm up. Pull, 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 pull. Let it float out. Swish. Their diagonal line. Squeeze the buns. Pull down. The leg flicks. The arm floats. Push, pull. So sometimes in the process of someone actually trying to fix and create their own solution to this nugget of information they've been given about their body, they're going about it in the wrong manner. And then they create a whole nother slew of issues for themselves, which happen to include kidney stones. Wow, right? Stretch, pull. It's just a crazy byproduct breakdown in the system of not knowing what to do, not getting put in front of people who can actually help create a solution for you. Release and relax. And now we're going to the floor. Keep your light weights. Have one heavy weight. All right. I want you to think that we're going to be doing, it's called supine. So from a lying face up position, it's called supine. We are going to be doing stiff arm lockout, followed by chest press, followed by skull crushers, all from our laying down position. So thinking about that, what weight do you need, right? But isn't it just worth your own kind of peace of mind to order your little pH testing strips, just like they do for pools, right? I mean, think about that, right? Your pool gets tested, right? Because if it's all messed up, what do you got that's growing in there? Algae, right? So your system has a need for similar type testing to see what your start point is. If your start point is highly acidic, that would explain why you might have, I don't know, we'll say inflammation. That word ring a bell? Okay, you ready? Lightweight, or excuse me, I'm using my 8. I don't necessarily know that you need to be lightweight. Maybe you've got a 2, a 4, a 6, an 8, a 10. You're like, I'm feeling really strong today. What I am going to do is roll up my towel, partly because this head, my mic that I use, I have to lay on it just a certain way, and when my head is flat to the floor, it kind of sits wrong. So get your head support that makes you feel like your neck is neutral and that your gaze is looking forward, not straight up at the ceiling. Okay. And now pick your weight. Pick it up, single arm. Your palm is turned away from you, and your arm is as vertical as you can get it. All right. Squeeze your buns. I want you to punch the knuckles towards the ceiling, which should get most of your shoulder off the floor. And then without letting your arm buckle, let the shoulder blade slide back down. So this is called punch. That is shoulder protraction. And the glide down is retraction. Punch, glide it down, punch. So sometimes when I'm working with people and they're on a bench, right, or even on the floor, their arm starts taking the wrong angle. Pay close attention to what is the vertical line and keep it as true as possible. If when you punch your knuckles up, you feel your shoulder or you even see your shoulder slide up towards your jawline, you're firing things on the wrong track. So that's really important that your shoulder, you might even take your other hand, put it on the top of your shoulder to keep it from going up towards your jawline. I know this can be complicated. Now, this arm, as the shoulder blade comes down, start bending the arm. The arm pulls away from the body on a down diagonal. So now stop. Look at your elbow in relation to where your shoulder is. Your elbow should be lower than your shoulder, and it should feel comfortable. Punch the arm up, reach the knuckles to the ceiling, glide the shoulder blade down, start letting the elbow track to the floor. Punch, shoulder blade glides, arm bends. Punch, shoulder blade glides, arm bends. Last one, you're going to take it up one more time and we're going to hold it here. Take your free hand, put your free hand at your wrist, and now hinge. So this is your tricep. And because the legs have been sitting here doing nothing for too long, I want you to walk your feet together, squeeze the knees together nice and tight. Take the opposite leg to the pumping arm and extend it and hold it. Now, hopefully you're not staring at the ceiling. Remember, you're kind of looking forward. I want you to look at your toes. Make sure the leg is within your sight line. If you don't need the extra support from your assist hand, take it away and let that arm do all the work. Here we go. Squeeze your buns. You've got 4 more of these arms. 4. Inhale down. Exhale, push. 2. Push, push, push. 3. Last one. Ease it down. Roll yourself to the side. Okay. So for me, I like to have a little bit of, like, I call it wiping the slate clean from one side to the next. So we're going to fire up your glute medius in this bent back leg. You have options though. If sitting bent leg is really a challenge for you, then you're going to come down on your elbow and you'll straighten your leg. Try not to turn the toe up, right? Turn the toe down and keep the leg as straight as you can and push it back. So this is a modified version. It's still super effective. This would be the harder version. And you might, again, need your hand to help push your trunk to a better sit position. All right, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. The leg is not coming forward of your front leg. Okay, keep it behind you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Now, other side. In the course of all of my discovery, what did I do? I created a file for all of this nugget information because I thought, you know what? This is going to become a really good reference point for all of us. If it's something that you would be like, I wouldn't mind reading that or listening to the YouTube video. There are 6 videos all on YouTube, all different people, okay? And one article. What are we doing? Palm turned away, feet flat, lumbar pulled down to the floor. Your chin is at neutral and you're kind of staring forward instead of straight up. Punch the knuckles up, glide the stiff arm down. Punch, and as you punch up, you should just feel your wing, I call your shoulder blade the wing. Your wing lifts from the floor because the arm is in full reach, and then you're trying to bring your wing back down. Punch, lower, punch, lower. 5, 4, 3, 2. Now, as the shoulder blade hits the floor, you're gliding. Start bending the arms. Stop when the arm gets to the floor because you're going to turn your head and you're going to say, okay, yeah, that looks like my elbow is at a downward angle to my shoulder. Punch it up. Shoulder blade glide. Arm pulls away from you at a downward angle, and it is that angle that actually allows the shoulder to move without strain. Sometimes if the arm lowers and your elbow pulls up towards your head, that's when the strain happens because it's tracking in the wrong position. So you want to just put eyes on your elbow, right? If we were to draw a line from the top of your shoulder to your elbow, it would look like it had a downward angle to it. 5. Squeeze the shoulder blades on the down. 4. The arm punches up, the elbow hits the floor. You pinch your shoulder blades without arching your back. Your buns are nice and tight. Push the arm up and hit the pause button. Work your feet together. Squeeze the knees nice and tight. Take your free arm, put it at your wrist. Start hinging for tricep extension. The opposite leg to the pumping arm extends with the knee staying clamped together. Put your eyes on your foot. If you do not need your assist hand, remove it from your wrist. Here we go. Punch. Punch the arm up, punch. And this should be starting to get some fatigue in it, right? Inhale down, exhale, extend. You've got 5 more. You can always keep assisting with your other hand, right? If you get to the down and you notice that your elbow is floating away from you and you no longer have the integrity of the movement, then that means you need a little more help. Give me 1 more. Release, relax, set the weight down, roll up. Side number 2. Oof. Is your body kind of like really struggling to get up? Mine is. So the action of the trailing leg, it is in internal hip rotation. And clearly, I'm really tight there. Maybe you are too. Here's how I'm going to fix that for me. I'm going to shim this weighted hip to help my pelvis sit, in a more neutral state. So if it's the pelvis that's throwing you, then just shim the hip. If it's the fact that the knee doesn't want to be in that rotation, straighten the leg, internally rotate the foot, and get on your elbow. Okay, here we go. Push it back. Oh, yeah. In the event you would like to have the information that I've discussed with you this morning, shoot me a message. I'll send you the note, right? And it's extensive. But what I did is I picked the videos. So I watched a lot of stuff and I narrowed it down. I narrowed it down to keeping these particular videos because of the simplicity of the explanations on the systems. Okay. So maybe this is something that you're It's not on your radar. You don't need the information. I don't know. But for me, I thought, man, even just to know how to supplement what foods. We're not talking about, you know, adding a ton of extra pill popping just for the sake of the foods that help you. So you might have noticed I spread my towel out and now my elbows are braced on it because even though the towel is thin, it gets me a little bit higher off the floor for a greater stretch than if my elbows were on the mat. Okay. This is a subtle extra stretch zone. So modified cobra, take the tops of your legs, kind of lengthen them, and feel your leg rest right in the middle of the thigh versus the thighs rolling out or in. So you want your toes and the tops of your feet as flush to the floor as you can. And if you could have an out-of-body experience where you stood up and you got to look at your back body line, I want you to feel what your feet are doing. Are your feet rolled in or out? And then fix it so that they rest as cleanly true to the heels being neutral, not flopped one way or the other. That's hard to feel, right? All right, wherever your elbows are resting, push them into the floor, squeeze your buns, and do a smidgen of an abdominal draw in. Okay, so you're pressing elbows down, pushing feet to the floor, your buns are active, your neck is in neutral, shoulders are out of the ears, and you're trying to activate just a little bit of your pelvic tilt. That's it. And now relax. Move the hands forward, comfortably wide. Load the hands. Feel the bend come out of the arms so you're in full cobra press away. Wow. Keep pushing the hands firmly into the floor to get as much bow in the body. But yet you must keep activating your derriere. And then relax. So cat back just for a moment. Elbows help you up. Start rounding your spine. As you come into the rounding position, you should feel like, oh, that feels fabulous, right? So you're in full round. Flex the feet. Press the knees from the floor. Shove your heels down. Hit the pause button for a second. Say hello to your hamstrings. And then ease yourself into your walk back. Please do not roll up without your weight being firmly in your full flat foot. Up you go. Lift and breathe. Release, relax. You've successfully completed this portion of your day. Okay, you guys. Well done.